Hello and welcome to Whispered Legends. I am your storyteller, and I'm thrilled to have you here. Get ready to journey into tales of mystery, adventure, and the unknown. If you love stories that spark your imagination, you're in the right place. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a whisper. Now, let's begin today's tale. And mystics for thousands of years. The story of Atlantis, primarily introduced by the ancient Greek philosopher Plato in his dialogues Timaeus and Critias, is filled with mystery and intrigue. Plato described Atlantis as an advanced and powerful civilization that existed many millennia before his time. According to Plato, the island of Atlantis was located beyond the Pillars of Hercules, a reference to the Strait of Gibraltar, which marked the boundary between the Mediterranean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean. The legend of Atlantis has left an indelible mark on culture, inspiring numerous theories about lost civilizations, advanced technologies, and the possibility of an ancient global catastrophe. They're combined, an immense landmass rich in natural resources. The inhabitants of Atlantis were described as a highly advanced civilization, both technologically and culturally, with remarkable achievements in engineering, agriculture, and governance. Atlantis was not only a city but a sprawling empire, a vast network of interconnected regions with incredible infrastructure. At the heart of the island was the capital city, Atlantis, which was said to have been built on a series of concentric rings of land and water. These rings surrounded a massive central island, upon which the royal palace stood. Plato described the palace as an architectural marvel, adorned with precious metals like gold, silver, and copper. The city itself was divided into different zones, with lush gardens, grand temples, and wide roads paved with gleaming stones. The inhabitants of Atlantis were said to be descendants of the god Poseidon, who created the island as a paradise for his mortal lover, Cleito. Poseidon's divine heritage imbued the people of Atlantis with great strength and wisdom, and the island flourished under their stewardship. The Atlanteans enjoyed a wealth of resources, including an abundance of timber, metal, and precious stones. The fertile land allowed them to produce abundant crops and sustain a large population. The civilization was known for its impressive agricultural systems, its advanced forms of irrigation, and its rich cultural and artistic achievements. The Atlanteans were also skilled in architecture and engineering, creating canals and bridges that connected the various sectors of the city. Poseidon, the god of the sea, who fell in love with the mortal Cleito. Poseidon made Cleito his wife and, in order to protect her, created a series of concentric rings of water and land around her home, effectively isolating her from the outside world. Poseidon had 10 sons with Cleito, and each son ruled over a different region of Atlantis. The 10 rulers were said to have been virtuous and wise, and they governed the island peacefully for generations, with the people living in harmony with the natural world. The rulers of Atlantis had direct access to Poseidon's divine wisdom and power. The island itself was believed to be a gift from the gods, and its prosperity was seen as a reward for the people's reverence and respect for the divine. The Atlanteans built grand temples in honor of the gods, and they followed strict codes of conduct based on justice and virtue. For many generations, Atlantis was a land of peace and harmony, and its people lived in balance with nature and the gods. The decline of Atlantis. However, as centuries passed, the character of the Atlanteans began to change. The once noble people of Atlantis grew increasingly corrupt, driven by their growing wealth and power. Plato's account describes how the rulers and citizens of Atlantis began to become more materialistic, greedy, and self-interested. They turned away from the values of justice and virtue that had originally guided them and instead focused on expanding their empire and seeking more power. The mighty Atlanteans, once revered for their wisdom, now became intoxicated with their own superiority. As the Atlanteans' ambitions grew, so did their arrogance. They began to covet the lands of neighboring civilizations and launched aggressive military campaigns to expand their empire. The island of Atlantis became an imperial power, conquering lands in Europe, North Africa, and Asia. Plato writes that the Atlanteans were able to build a formidable military force, using their advanced technology and strategic prowess to subjugate nearby nations. One of their most famous campaigns was an invasion of ancient Athens. However, despite their immense power, the Atlanteans' moral decay began to erode the very foundation of their society. According to Plato, the gods, angered by the Atlanteans' corruption, decided to punish them. This shift from virtue to vice signified the end of the golden age of Atlantis and heralded its inevitable fall. The fall of Atlantis. The destruction of Atlantis is the most dramatic and mysterious aspect of its story. Plato writes that the gods, particularly Zeus, decided to bring about the downfall of the Atlanteans as punishment for their moral decline. According to the legend, Atlantis was destroyed in a single, catastrophic event. In a single day and night, a series of earthquakes and floods devastated the island. The earth shook violently, and the seas rose up, swallowing the once great civilization. Plato describes how the island of Atlantis sank into the ocean, vanishing without a trace. The great capital city, with its gleaming temples and magnificent palaces, was lost to the depths, and the once flourishing civilization was obliterated. Some versions of the story suggest that Atlantis was struck by divine wrath, while others depict it as a natural disaster, an earthquake or volcanic eruption followed by a massive tsunami, that caused the island to sink beneath the waves. In Plato's telling, Atlantis' destruction was a cosmic judgment, a consequence of the Atlanteans' hubris and their abandonment of the divine principles that had once governed their society. The once proud civilization, which had been blessed with riches, wisdom, and technological prowess, was now lost to the sea, a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power and moral decay. The search for Atlantis. Since Plato's time, the legend of Atlantis has captured the imagination of countless explorers, scientists, and adventurers. Many have sought to uncover the location of the fabled island, and countless theories have been proposed regarding its possible real-world existence. Some suggest that Atlantis may have been based on the Minoan civilization, which flourished on the island of Crete and was destroyed by a volcanic eruption around 1500 BCE. Others have speculated that Atlantis could be located in the Caribbean, Antarctica, or even the Mediterranean. One of the most popular theories is that the story of Atlantis was inspired by real events, such as the catastrophic eruption of the Thera volcano, modern-day Santorini, or the flooding of ancient coastal cities. Some researchers believe that the Atlantis myth may have been a reflection of an ancient memory of natural disasters, like tsunamis or earthquakes, that affected early Mediterranean societies. Despite the many theories and claims about the location of Atlantis, no conclusive evidence has ever been found to prove its existence. Some scholars believe that Plato's story was meant to serve as an allegory, a moral lesson about the dangers of excessive pride and the fallibility of human civilization. Others contend that Plato's tale was based on older myths and stories from other cultures, woven into a narrative about a lost utopia. The enduring mystery of Atlantis. Over the centuries, the myth of Atlantis has remained a source of fascination for people all over the world. Whether viewed as a philosophical allegory, historical mystery, or a mythological tale, the story of Atlantis speaks to humanity's desire to explore the unknown and uncover the secrets of the past. The allure of a lost civilization, with its riches, wisdom, and advanced technology, continues to capture the imagination of writers, artists, and conspiracy theorists. The legend of Atlantis remains a powerful symbol of the fragility of civilization and the idea that even the most advanced societies can be brought low by their own hubris. As a result, Atlantis endures not only as a myth but also as a cautionary tale about the rise and fall of empires. Whether Atlantis was a real place, a myth, or a combination of both, its legacy continues to inspire a wide range of theories and stories, from speculative fiction to pseudoscience, and it remains one of the most enduring mysteries in the history of human culture. The search for Atlantis may never yield definitive answers, but the legend's allure will likely continue for generations to come, urging us to reflect on the lessons of the past and the possibility of what may lie beneath the waves.